Hello everyone, my name is Gu Xiaoling, a young diplomat from the Chinese Embassy in India. Today, in New Delhi, I want to tell you a story about a village of Yi ethnic group in China, which is 2,400 kilometers away from here. The village is called Zhizuo, an ancient Yi village with a history of more than 1,000 years. Surrounded by mountains and lack of transportation, it was one of the poorest and most isolated villages in China. My parents were born and raised there. They told me in the 1970s, when they were kids, their deepest fear was hunger. Potatoes, buckwheat, and corn were the main food crops at that time. It was only during the Chinese New Year and other major festivals that they could get the chance to eat rice. They often went to bed with empty stomachs. I was born in the 1990s. My deepest impression of the village was that it was far away from my home and so dark at night. Every Chinese New Year, my parents would take me back to the village to visit our relatives. There was no electricity in the village, and after sunset, everyone sat around the huotang, a kind of Chinese fireplace. There was no tap water also. Fetching drinking water meant clambering down to the river at the bottom of the valley and hauling 2 buckets of water up the hill using a carrying pole. This was a routine for every family. There was only one primary school in the village. Children studied in shabby campus and poorly equipped classrooms. Students dropped out of school easily. The school had only one teacher who taught all grades by himself and went from hill to hill and door to door to get students back to school. Once it rained so heavily the day before our return trip that the only road got washed away. My parents could only carry me on their back. Villagers led a horse to carry our luggages. We walked for more than 5 hours to the bus station. That scene is still in my memory. In the second decade of the 21st century, as the battle against poverty began, the fate of this village was also changed. The local government made full use of cultural resources of Yi ethnic group to develop cultural tourism. The Saizong Festival, a traditional folk activity with a history of more than 1,000 years, has been rediscovered, attracting tourists from all over the world. Yi embroidery, a national intangible cultural heritage of China, is well heralded and has gained new vitality. Clothes with elements of Yi embroidery are brought out of the mountains and was showed in international fashion weeks in Beijing, Shanghai, and New York. Yi embroidery products are sold both at home and abroad, becoming an important means to increase local income. You can see the Chinese dresses Qipao am wearing today. The beautiful and dynamic pattern on it is Yi embroidery. According to local conditions, the villagers have also changed the traditional agricultural habit of planting only grain. Now they are planting walnuts and green pepper on the continuous green mountains. Tobacco and other crops of high economic value are also interplanted in the forests. Lucid waters and large mountains will indeed turn into sources of income. In 2019, Zhizuo village was lifted out of poverty. Last year, the villagers' per capita net income exceed 11,000 RMB.
yani 130,000 rupees. Clean and broad concrete roads connect every house. Dilapidated houses have been renovated or rebuilt. Listed as a traditional protected village, the folk houses in Zhizuo keep its traditional Yi architectural style, which also connected with tap water, electricity, and internet, and compatible with all kinds of modern household appliances.
Children study in spacious and bright classrooms. The campus also equipped with plastic cement basketball courts, music classrooms, multimedia classrooms, and library. This ancient Yi village is gradually showing new vitality. Once, there were 138 poor villages like my hometown in China. Through continuous efforts, all such poor villages and 832 impoverished counties, 98.99 million impoverished rural residents in China have all been lifted out of poverty by the end of 2020. China has accomplished the arduous task of eliminating absolute poverty and secured a complete victory in its fight against poverty. It's a miracle.
My hometown is just an ordinary village in southwest China, 3,500 kilometers away from Beijing. But it has really enjoyed the benefits of poverty alleviation. We often say that no one should be left behind in the campaign against poverty. What does it mean?
It means that every single person of the 586 families in this village, their livelihood, their happiness, matters to the Communist Party of China and the Chinese government.
The fate of individuals is closely related to the fate of the nation. The poor children, my father and mother, who slept hungry at night, finished primary and middle school with the help of China's 9-year compulsory education. Then they further finished high school and college, becoming civil servant and teacher. And the little girl, who thought her hometown was dark and far away, now lucky enough to stand here, share with you a story about her hometown, a Yi village in southwest of China.